Mother Teresa said being uncared for and forgotten causes a much greater hunger than having nothing to eat. The AIDS epidemic in Africa has left hundreds of thousands of children orphaned. Government agencies are overwhelmed, and these forgotten children are left on the streets to fend for themselves. In Zambia, a lucky few find their way to Moses Zulu. He's created a sanctuary for AIDS orphans, a place where they can smile and laugh again. He calls it Children's Town.
It's 6 a.m. in Children's Town, a small school in the middle of Zambia. The next 24 hours will make a difference in the lives of 300 children here. Audrey Simfukwe is a teacher, and today her first responsibility is to wake everyone up and have them begin their daily chores.
The children who are here, they are between the ages of 8 and 17, of which in these dormitories they are divided according to their families and according to their age. That is how they sleep. These children are from the big cities of Zambia, Lusaka, the Copper Belt, and we have a few from the surrounding villages who are orphans and vulnerable children. When we put them in families of 8, they'll sleep in a room of 8, and then they'll be able to help each other. That touch which they lost when they became orphaned, that is what we are trying to instill when they come here. That's why you have seen that these dormitories are set in such a way that it's a home. Let's go to school. Stand up. We go for morning tea. Okay.
So in addition to being a teacher, an educator, you're supposed to be a parent as well.
Yes, I'm a parent as well in the Children's Town. It calls for a big heart and love.
At 7 a.m. sharp, Rose Kasongo rings a gong, telling the children to gather. Rose is 16 years old. She's the youngest of 5 children.
I just came here to Children's Town when my parents died.
Both of your parents died?
Yes.
I'm very sorry. Do you know how they died?
No, I don't know, because by that time I was very young.
How old were you when your parents died?
I was 4 years old.
Children's Town was founded in 1990 with just a few children in 2 tents. Now there are 120 children who live full-time in the dormitories and another 180 who come from the surrounding villages.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Okay. We all look bright, eh?
Yes.
Can we have a common song before we have some announcements for you?
Love your sister. Love your neighbor. Love your brother. To make a way. Everybody's talking about love. Everybody's talking about peace. Everybody's talking about togetherness to make a way. We are happy to be together. We are happy to be together.
Moses Zulu is the project director of Children's Town. His passion to lead comes from the fact that he was severely beaten by his father when he was a child. He is determined to help all vulnerable children, not just AIDS orphans.
The mission of the Children's Town is to provide a supportive environment of these former street kids and other vulnerable children, destitute children that have been abused, that have been exposed to dangerous vices at their tender age, so that there is this supportive environment, providing a home, a school, and skills training center, and above all also to provide rehabilitative care to these children, that they become useful citizens.
Classes take place in the morning in grades 1 to 9.
Separate
reading a book under a tree. Eh? Very good. Margaret, what can you see on the picture?
Good morning, class.
Good morning, teacher.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Thank you. My name is Doreen Chilala. I'm a grade 1 teacher at Children's Town, and also I'm an HIV and AIDS coordinator in the school. The children in my class are coming from different backgrounds. Of course, all of them are orphans. They are actually vulnerable.
How difficult is it to integrate a child off the streets of Lusaka, an orphan, into your first grade class?
It is quite difficult when we are starting, but eventually when we are able to actually capture their mind into school, then it becomes a lot easier.
Okay, wasola solai. Amugambira. Munuti bora mugwacha wambwana.
James Chama, Alex Chinyata, and Peter Jobvu all came to Children's Town from the streets of the nation's capital, Lusaka. When his mother died, James ran away from home because his father beat him. You lived on the streets for many years. How would you get money?
We are just asking, begging in the street. They are from the people, we are just passing, we ask for some. When they give us a little, then we buy food there in the street.
And when you didn't get money, when people didn't give it to you, what would happen?
When they have not, when we have asked for money, then people have not given us any money. We just go in the bin, and then we take those leftovers that they are throwing there, then we eat.
In the garbage?
Yes, in the garbage.
Moses found Alex on the streets of Lusaka, took him to a social services agency, and then brought him here. How old were you when you were begging on the streets?
7 years.
7 years old?
Yes.
The children here are grateful for the opportunity given them because they know what the alternative is. And this is the alternative. The streets of Lusaka, Zambia's capital, home to 75,000 orphans. AIDS orphans used to be taken care of by their extended families, but no longer.
In Zambia, we have very much respect of extended family. We didn't know an orphan before, but because all orphans were taken care of in their uncles, aunties' homes, in their grandparents' homes. But now the economical situation is not able to cope up with this situation. And then because of that, these children find themselves on the streets because there is no bread in their homes.
Moses works with social service agencies to identify which orphans will enroll in Children's Town.
A child who's on the street is a child who has been exposed to a lot of vices. And this child has developed hate. This child has no passion whatever. This child has no love at all. This child has no respect of even himself or herself. He sees everybody as an enemy. He can't trust anyone.
It's an excruciating decision, deciding which ones will benefit from Children's Town. Most are left on the streets. Those who are picked know full well that they are the chosen few. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Children's Town, practical skills are taught, such as art, business, and farming.
But are we sure this weed is not going to choke our maize when it is so good?
Alpha Kabamba runs the skills training program. He's proud of much here, particularly the 10 hectares of corn the children are growing.
We are trying to help the children understand that with their hands, they can be able to feed themselves. So that's the whole concept, because even when they graduate, they should think in the same way we are doing things here. The way we've organized our farm is such a way that the corn, that's our staple food here. Then besides that, we have cash crops like paprika, cotton, and soybeans.
Money raised from the cash crops is sending 57 students on to high school, which is not free in Zambia. Alpha runs the animal husbandry program as well.
Other than just learning how to take care of the animals, we also use it as a therapy for rehabilitation, because we try to connect a child to what surrounds that child. We tend to help them to love the animals, because in the streets where they came from, they never appreciated anything that is surrounding them. But when they come here, we try to connect them to nature. Besides that, we're also using it for our consumption. So we are able to subsidize our budget. And then also for their well-being afterwards, when they have graduated, they are able to replicate what they are learning in the children's town and be able to practice that, especially those we've resettled back in the villages.
Moses dreams of increasing the farming into a commercial operation so Children's Town can become self-sustaining. He wants to get electricity and an irrigation system to these fields.
Now, out of our own hands, we are able to feed ourselves all year round on 10 hectares. What more if I have machinery? That doubles it.
In 1992, you had no electricity.
No way.
You now have electricity.
We have electricity.
But you need to get it to your field.
To our fields. We need it in the animal production, the piggery, in the poultry. We can grow cash crops, which we can export, because there's so much that we can do in this country. But we need entrepreneurs, and the children already have become entrepreneurs.
In the afternoon, Moses and field officers from Children's Town visit a local village as part of their outreach program to help identify orphans. The idea is to help these villages take responsibility for their orphans and to inform them of the children's rights.
We are in Chilikwela village in Marambanyama area. This is one of the villages where we have brought Children's Town activities to assist the orphans and vulnerable children, and most those that have been orphaned of HIV and AIDS.
How many children are orphans in this village?
We have a number of 60 orphans in this village.
60 orphans?
60 orphans.
Out of a population of how many?
Out of the population of 2,500 men, women, and children.
7 children from this village attend Children's Town. The others go to public school. But Moses finds that some are not attending any school at all.
Out of 45, now we have 15 who are not going to school. So when I am able to stand in front of these local headmen, I'll say, the greatest enemy ever you can have is ignorance. We are going to reach 4,000 children in the district.
How we look after our rooms, we have new beddings, new mattresses. We've just come back from the holidays, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, so the point is it.
Toward the end of the day, Audrey meets with her family to discuss any concerns they may have, from difficulty with a math assignment to a disagreement between 2 children. It's the kind of love and attention any child would want, and these children in particular remain thankful.
The time when I came here, I didn't know anything about myself. Now, by now, I've been taught how to read, how to write, how to welcome the visitors, how to pray with my friends, sharing good ideas. So I've learned more things in Children's Town, yes. This is where we have given education, where they have given everything we were looking for. So we can't forget Children's Town even we graduate. This is our real home.
At the end of the day, a soccer game and a song. Here, amidst all the sorrow of a raging AIDS epidemic, in a country with almost 1 million orphans, these children have been given hope and a chance to dream.
We need love, no rage, all for the future. This world to be a better place to live. We need love.
Children's Town is actually a model. From the very beginning, that we develop a model that if we run it effectively, we at the end are satisfied with producing a citizen, because this industry will be happy if the product is quality and the customers are happy. And I see that also in children, that at the end of the day we have a citizen who is responsible after passing through Children's Town.
We need love, no rage, all for the future. This world to be a better place to live. We need love, no rage, all for the future. This world to be a better place to
As we've seen, people cannot begin the process of improving their lives until they're free from violence and exploitation, until they find sanctuary. But that's only the beginning. In the next episode, we'll see how appropriate technologies, thoughtfully applied, can unleash the power of human potential. I'm Robert Redford. Thanks for watching.
Meet the new heroes and find out more about how social entrepreneurs are changing the world. Visit us at pbs.org. In India, a doctor with a vision helps the poor and blind see again. In Kenya, appropriate technology makes the savannah bloom. And in Brazil, a singing cowboy electrifies the rural night. The technology of freedom, next on The New Heroes. The New Heroes series is available on a 2-part DVD set for $29.95 plus shipping and handling. The companion CD is also available for $14.99. To place an order, please call 1-800-440-2651. Major funding for The New Heroes was provided by the Skoll Foundation, additional funding provided by Calvert.
Calvert, investments that make a difference.
We are PBS.
Audrey Simfukwe is a teacher, and today her first responsibility is to wake everyone up and have them begin their daily chores.
The children who are here, they are between the ages of 8 and 17, of which in these dormitories they are divided according to their families and according to their age. That is how they sleep. These children are from the big cities of Zambia, Lusaka, the Copper Belt, and we have a few from the surrounding villages who are orphans and vulnerable.
At 7 a.m. sharp, Rose Kasongo rings a gong, telling the children to gather. Rose is 16 years old. She's the youngest of 5 children.
I just came here to Children's Town when my parents died.
Both of your parents died?
Yes, yes.
I'm very sorry. Do you know how they died?
No, I don't know, because by that time I was very young.
How old were you when your parents died?
I was 4 years old.
Mother Teresa said being uncared for and forgotten causes a much greater hunger than having nothing to eat. The AIDS epidemic in Africa has left hundreds of thousands of children orphaned. Government agencies are overwhelmed, and these forgotten children are left on the streets to fend for themselves. In Zambia, a lucky few find their way to Moses Zulu. He's created a sanctuary for AIDS orphans, a place where they can smile and laugh again. He calls it Children's Town.
It's 6 a.m. in Children's Town, a small school in the middle of Zambia. The next 24 hours will make a difference in the lives of 300 children here.
Children. When we put them in families of 8, they'll sleep in a room of 8, and then they'll be able to help each other. That touch which they lost when they became orphaned, that is what we are trying to instill when they come here. That's why you have seen that these dormitories are set in such a way that it's a home. Let's go to school. It's time up. We go for morning tea. Okay.
So in addition to being a teacher, an educator, you're supposed to be a parent as well.
Yes, I'm a parent as well in the Children's Town. It calls for a big heart and love.